What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be replacing my alternator in my Corolla. So I ordered this one on Amazon. It's a refurbished one. Pretty much all alternators are going to be a refurbished one. I don't know if you can really buy new ones. Then I went over to AutoZone real quick to buy a new serpentine belt. I figured if I'm going to do this, I might as well just change out the serpentine belt. I'd imagine it's original on this car. It doesn't look like it's in too bad of condition, but hey, if you're in here, might as well change it. I know they recommend you change it like every 100,000 miles or something, just like as just a maintenance item. I mean, even here, yeah, they're showing inspected at 60, replaced at 90. So, and I went with a little bit pricier one, so that way this comes with a 3-year warranty. I don't think it's going to break no matter what. And before we get started, I just want to say thank you to Top Done for wanting to supply me a nice battery tester and alternator tester. I'm going to be showing you guys today how to test your alternator with this, but they wanted to supply this to me, so I said, yeah, this will be great to show you guys how to use it. And I'll be putting a link down in the description for that. Very easy to use. So first thing I want to do is we're going to top off this plastic cover, so that way we can get to the alternator a little easier. And there's only a few bolts holding on the alternator, so you literally got like a ground wire and then your plug, and then I think there's 2 bolts, 2 maybe 3 bolts holding it on. So we'll find those real quick, but let's test this alternator and show you what's wrong with it. Like I said, it's very simple. I mean, it's just a handheld thing, no batteries, no nothing. It relies on your battery to operate it, and then it comes with a little instruction manual, and that's it. So first we're gonna uncover the terminal, connect the positive, and then we'll connect our negative, and we'll connect the negative. The screen will turn on. So pretty much you can do a battery test, cranking test, charging test, and then review data. It stores data from the last one that you did. So we're gonna do a charging test. Alright, now it wants us to increase the RPM to 2500 and keep it there for about 5 seconds. So let's turn on the car real quick. Alright, so you can tell right here, after doing that, it shows charging low. So this will show you that you have a bad alternator and it's not charging the battery properly. And I forgot to mention too, when you're doing a charging test, you're going to want to like turn on your headlights, turn the AC on to pretty much full blast, turn on any other accessories that you have, so that way the alternator can try to run everything like that it's supposed to run. So make sure you do that when you do this. But like I said, you can see it charging low, so my alternator is no good, and that's why I'm replacing it. One of the biggest reasons why I've also noticed this too, it's very common on these Corollas. I don't know why they tend to go bad around 100,000 miles, and they don't usually just cut out like a lot of older alternators do. They will end up just like, they'll slowly start getting worse and worse and worse. And one of the biggest things that I noticed was my idle. Like just at normal idle, the car will like drop down in RPMs and like shudder a little bit, and then it'll pick itself back up to try to fix the idle. And that I've read about and seen is a bad alternator. So let's hop in and let's get this thing undone. Alright, so hopping into the first thing, we're going to want to disconnect our battery. So I'm going to disconnect the negative terminal on here, and then we're going to hop over here. We're going to unplug the plug that is right down here, and then there's a cap right here that we're going to have to pop off with a screwdriver or something, and then there's a screw that we're going to have to loosen up. You can see it on the new one right here, and there's going to be a ground cable on there. So we'll start by doing that, and then you're going to need a 12mm and a 14mm, I'm pretty sure, for the bolts on the alternator. One is right here, and one's down below here. I'll show you, I'll try to get a better look in a second when I do that. But let's disconnect the battery first. So then I disconnected this plug right here, there's a little push right here. It's just kind of hard to push it and pull out, and then we'll disconnect that. I think that's a 10mm. Alright, so I got the alternator disconnected, and then drop your screw. And so there's going to be a 12mm right underneath the adjustment screw right here. I'm going to crack that loose. And then there's going to be another one. That's the 14mm on there. So then again, it's going to be kind of hard, but it's going to be literally 180 degrees apart, right where my finger's at. It's kind of dark down there. It's really hard to see. But there's going to be the top 14mm bolt down there. You're going to want to loosen that. Because if you look on the new alternator, you're going to have a bolt that goes right through here. And then you have a really long bolt that goes right through here. So, and that bolt kind of pinches this together here, and that one just mounts to the bracket. Alright, so I just want to show you guys just real quick where I'm at. I got this top bolt out that goes, it holds the bracket on, and it also goes through here. So it's like lined up right there. That's a 12mm. And then I almost got the other one out. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not. It's sticking out right there. I almost got it out, but it's right down there. There's not a lot of room, so there's not a lot of swing for your ratchet, but just wanted to show you where these two bolts are for this. Also too, forgot to mention that you gotta get this wiring harness off of here, and there's, after you disconnect these two, the connector and the ground cable here, there's another 10mm bolt right underneath it. So just unscrew that one so you can get the harness off of here. Okay, so there's that bolt. So now the whole harness is separated from the alternator. So I got the longer bolt out from the bottom there. Like I said, this bolt is down right here, goes on there. So this took a little while to get off because I couldn't really get my ratchet in there good. I mean, if you had one of those electric ratchets, this would have probably taken you like 10 seconds. But there's not a lot of swing in here for your ratchet, so this took me a little while because you had to get like probably like 1 inch of threads out of there. So now we're gonna have to probably pry on this a little bit because it's probably wedged in between here. So I have to try to get like a big screwdriver or pry bar and try to pry it off. I finally got it loose. Let's see if we can. I hope I don't need to take this bracket off, but looks like you might need to. Alright, so I got the alternator all out of here. I just put it on the ground, compared it to the old one. Everything looks the same number of ribs inside of here. So now I got the serpentine belt off. Like I said, since you got this off, might as well put this in there. And looking at the old one, it honestly doesn't look terrible. I mean, but it does look like it is kind of starting to want to crack just a little bit, like tiny little hairline cracks, not anything major. So compared to the new one, I mean, the new one looks good. You want to make sure they're both about the same length. So, and also too, if anybody's curious, this is how the diagram goes for the pulley. I just wanted to double check it. So there's literally just, you got your AC pulley down there, you got your crank pulley right there, and you got the tensioner, and then you're gonna have your alternator right there. So we're gonna route it like, we're gonna put the alternator, well, yeah, we'll put the alternator in and then route the belt. Alright guys, so I got the alternator in and I got my serpentine belt on. I do have to say the serpentine belt was not the easiest to get on. I would definitely also say don't do this on a warm engine, because I mean, in order to get your hand down there to help guide the belt, your arm's going to touch this, so make sure that your engine's not too hot so that way you can actually work on it and not burn yourself. And then I had to make sure this, I pretty much loosened my tensioner bolt pretty much like all the way until I couldn't push the alternator anymore, to give myself as much slack as possible. And then routed the bottom two, then pushed it around the tensioner or a water pump pulley, whatever you want to call it, and then bring it around the alternator, and then slowly tighten this until, I'm not exactly sure how tight you have it. I tightened it to about what it felt like before I loosened it. So I mean, there is some give. I mean, you can probably move it maybe like 1/4 inch or something like that. I hope it's not too loose, but we'll see. But now I gotta put my connectors back together and then put the screw harness back on. Alright, finally got the alternator in, car started, everything looks good. New serpentine belt, everything. Tension seems fine, I didn't hear any squealing or anything like that, so it sounds good. But on these cars too, since they have a manual tensioner, you might want to check your car maybe like in a day or two after driving and just double check that you got this tight, because it might stretch the belt just a little bit, so you want to make sure it's tight up against it. So alright, so using my top done scanner, I went to double check the alternator now, and now after I did the test, it says charging is normal, so it's finally running enough to charge the battery, so that way it won't die on me. So hopefully this will also fix my idling issue. Alright you guys, so that's going to be it for today's video. So thank you guys for watching. We got the alternator replaced, so don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.